Yeah.
Will people still see me from here?
Yes.
I've never been on the TV before.
Okay, well, I'll call you just now.
No, I really want to.
How's everyone just busy setting up? Double-sided tape. Okay.
Alice be on the TV.
Okay, I don't know how many people are going to be on Facebook and how many on YouTube. Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay, guys. So, like, we start in like about a minute or two. So I've got Facebook going over there, and I've got YouTube going over here. YouTube, I can actually see comments a whole lot better than Facebook. So, if you are on Facebook, it might be a good idea to just go to YouTube. So yeah, this is my house. So you here today. And the whole point is also so that you guys can ask comments, and I'll be able to see those comments hopefully, and answer your questions about how to make better coffee at home. So yeah, my wife is going to be helping me because I can't see the comments on the Facebook side, but I can see the comments on the YouTube side. Can you see comments? Are there comments? Just thumbs ups?
No, there's comments.
Okay.
It's saying no sound.
Oh, is there no sound?
For Facebook.
Oh, Rex, I've stuck this thing down with double-sided tape. Okay. Can you guys hear sound if I do that?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, you're going to be on TV. Okay, there's my son. He's desperate to be on TV. I know there's some guys that are waiting to join. The guys on YouTube, can you guys just comment just so I can see if you can comment? Okay, I can't see comments, but it's fine. Okay, so oh, there we go. Let's go. How's this? Cool. Okay, so the whole point of this is to teach you guys how to make better coffee at home. So the first thing I want to do is to teach you sort of the steps of making coffee. A lot of guys, when I go to their homes, they don't get things right because they're fumbling around. They're not going from one step to another step to another step. So I'm going to be going through those steps with you. I'll post this later. Louder, sorry. I will post this later as well, so you guys can have it in like a text format. But these are the steps I want you to take when you're making coffee. Okay, so remove the portafilter from the group. Step 1. Dry the portafilter with a dry cloth. Step 2. Grind the coffee. Step 3. Distribute the coffee. Step 4. Tap the coffee. Step 5. Wipe the lip. This is the lip over here. Wipe the lip, ears, and spout. Maybe don't hold by the mic. It's very wide doing. So those are the steps of how to make coffee at home. But before I've done that, I want to teach you guys how to set your grinder. When I go to people's homes, they're making coffee, but the coffee's coming out really, really badly. So I did clean the grinder earlier, and I haven't actually set it. So I have no idea what the grinder is going to be like. It might be too coarse, it might be too fine. I don't know. So let's start this. Okay, so drying that. The reason you dry this is because as soon as wet coffee goes on the inside of as soon as coffee goes on a damp basket, it starts to expand already. And it's very difficult to control extraction. And what you want to do is control as many variables as possible. So this needs to be perfectly, perfectly dry. I can't speak louder. Sorry, Facebook, I can't speak louder. Okay, maybe my wife will come a bit closer. Okay, so dry this properly. Another thing I'm using a scale. So if you guys have never used a scale to make coffee before, it's really, really helpful, because when you're changing your grind setting, you don't really know, you can't really see exactly what that change is. But if you know the grammage and you know how fast it's coming out, you can replicate those shots. Okay, so I'm gonna tear the waterfalls over here. Okay, so my recipe that I use at home here is I use 17 grams in the basket and between 34 and 40 grams out in the cup. So okay, so that's 17 grams in the basket. Okay, so on how to distribute. So a lot of guys have this. A lot of guys will say that you must distribute. When you do this, it does distribute. It doesn't really. So when you are, I'll show you both. Maybe come closer here. So when you are moving the coffee around, all you're doing is you're actually just moving the coffee on top of the puck. You're not actually changing what's underneath here. And water is going to find the easiest way to go through the coffee. So although I do turn that around and make it flat, I think the most effective way of doing it is to bump the basket. By bumping the basket, you are leveling the coffee around in the basket. And if you look here, bumping it. Actually stand here. Tamping. Everyone makes tamping out to be a really, really big thing. So your tamp makes your coffee taste good or not. It's not really true. Tamping is just flattening the coffee puck so it's level. That's all you're doing. And I used to tamp really, really hard when I was a new barista, but as I got more experienced, it was a whole lot easier to be consistent at tamping very light than it is to tamp really heavy. So my tamp is, all I'm doing is I'm just pushing the tamper down onto the coffee puck. Turn that so the coffee doesn't stick to it and gently lift it up. So what you're doing is you are creating a flat surface for the water to hit. The reason I turn it is so that the coffee doesn't get stuck on the tamper, and lifting up slowly prevents the tamper from sucking up the coffee. So you don't want to dislodge it from the bottom. There's no reason to bang things. There's no reason to when people say you're polishing it, you're not really polishing it. It's a perfectly flat surface. You can't polish a coffee with that. All you're doing is you're stopping the coffee from sticking. Okay, so once you've done that, wipe the lip, ears, and spout. It's the most effective way of doing it. There's no point in doing that and doing that. And so lip, ears, and spout. Then flush. What flushing is doing is reintroducing hot water into the group, because the group is obviously a different temperature to what the boiler is set inside. And then this is where I see a lot of guys make probably their biggest mistake, because you could have been as careful as you could have up until this point, going through everywhere. It just goes around the outside. So gently insert, and then as soon as it's in, you can start your brew. I'm not using a scale now. I just want to see how quickly it is coming out. Okay, so it's gushing out. Okay, so I want to go finer to slow that extraction down. So on my grinder, when you're going finer, it's a really, really good idea to turn your grinder on while you are going finer. What can happen is you can actually jam the beans between the burrs. So we do that. Okay, and also there is a throat between the grinding chamber and where the coffee comes out, and that will have your old grind setting stuck in there. So waste about 1.5, maybe 2 coffees worth of coffee before you actually do that again to see how much better it's got. Okay. Okay, so let me do that again. Okay, again, dry it with a nice dry cloth. Okay, 17 grams. Okay, 17.9. Take a little bit out. Okay, 17.1. You smiling? I feel rude.
No, Ravenberg Gertzenbach asked where your shoes are.
This is my house. I don't have shoes. You like to have a clothes on. Okay, so grinding. Okay, I've ground that in. That's 17.1 grams. Again, so distributing it is the best is to vibrate that coffee around, shake it around, and that's perfectly leveled now. Temp down. Wipe the lip, ears, and spout. I'm just going to use the dirty cups because I'm just testing the. I don't know where this ground is. So flush it, gently insert. So at work, when you do a barista course, we call it kiss and insert. So this is the lip. You gently kiss, you know the whole 90-10 thing? Like gently kiss, slide, and insert. No funny comments? Okay. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see. Okay, that's barely coming out. There's probably a little drop there, but that's about it. Okay, so I'm just going to loosen up the ground a little bit. Because I'm going coarser, I don't have to turn the grinder on. Yes, bro. You really want to go see. Okay, standing away. Okay, so let me do that again. Yeah, so if you don't have a scale, it's really difficult to dial the coffee in accurately because 1 gram of coffee either way can make a big difference when you make it. So having a scale, you can use a cheap kitchen scale, it's fine, as long as it's is accurate to hopefully 0.1 of a gram. Okay, there we go. This should be pretty much close to. Okay, if you can zoom in here, pick the laptop up. Okay, so that's, we're pretty close to what I'm wanting. I'm just going to loosen it up about a little bit. Okay, I'm loosening it up. So if that's my setting there, when I go coarser, I'm literally going to be doing that. That's the small adjustments that I'm going. So you want coffee? Okay, I'll make you one. Okay. So my son's been wanting coffee all day. So when you are adjusting the grinder, you literally are adjusting like 1 mil, maybe 2 mils either side. That's it. Okay. Okay, so now I'm pretty much, I've loosened it up. The next adjusted it, so I do need to flush the grinder. And you won't be needing to do this a lot. Only when you change coffee will you need to sort of go back to, let's figure out where this coffee is and waste a whole lot. I'll use that one. I'll use that little bit. Okay, so okay, so let's try that again. This one should be really good. So I'm going to make 2 cappuccinos, and let me demonstrate from the word go about how to make coffee. I'll use that to make coffee now. Okay, standing. Okay, so I'm going to start again. Remove the portafilter from the group. Dry. Obviously, if there was coffee in there, you would knock it out. dry with a dry cloth. You need two different cloths. I would tear my portafilter. Okay, so grind that. This is distributing. Okay, distribute is when you're turning it, you're using your thumb and your forefinger and feeling the lip of the portafilter to see if you've tamped flat. So there, and if I'm turning it, I can feel if I'm not level. So that's another good reason to do that. Okay, wipe lip, ears, spout, flush. Okay, gently insert, start. Okay, and then 2 cups down. Okay, there we go, and that's absolutely perfect. Let me get the camera. Probably a touch slow, but it will get a little faster. Okay, that's a beautiful shot there. Okay, what's that? Okay. Okay. Anybody happy? Okay. So, okay, after you've done that milk frothing, now this is one of the areas I think I'm probably going to get the most comments on. If there are like important comments for you, let me know. People really battle with milk. If you've got too much, it's going to bubble over. But what you are doing is you're doing sort of 3 things. You are heating the milk up, number 1. You are adding air to that milk, and you are mixing that air in the milk. Obviously, the more air you add, it's going to be fluffier, and you're going to get like a lot of bubbles. If you add less air, it's going to be very thin. So in the middle, there's a nice sweet spot where it's going to be a balance of sort of thick, but it's actually going to have a lot of dense microfoam. Obviously, if you go too hot, it's going to break down a lot of those proteins, and it's going to taste quite savory. So you want to keep it around like 60-ish degrees Celsius. And it's going to be milk and foam everywhere. If it's not mixed well, it's going to be milk and foam. So the cappuccino being more of an experiential drink. So if I had to ask you guys describe an amazing cappuccino that you've just had, what you would probably say is, wow, it's so creamy. That's generally the first comment people will say, it's creamy. And a lot of what makes a cappuccino like pleasurable is the fact that it's creamy. So your milk is as important as your coffee in this pairing. Okay, so you're doing 3 things. You are mixing, you are heating, and are adding air. So okay, so before you steam the milk, it is very important that you flush your steam on. There's so many bad innuendos. Okay, the reason you flush the steam on is that you've got a whole lot of water. Watch out, boy, camera. You've got a whole lot of water that's sitting at the bottom of the steam